My name is Hazel Anderson, and I'm about to turn 30. At present, I live with my husband, Philip, who is 5 years older than I am, and our little boy, R, who has just turned 5. The three of us make up a small but happy family. Today, Philip and I are attending the wedding ceremony of some of his friends. Though I call them friends, truthfully, they are far closer to my husband than to me. I know most of them only by face and name. The wedding is being held at a luxurious 5-star hotel, and I can't help but be captivated by its elegance and grandeur. While Philip greets his acquaintances and exchanges pleasantries at the venue, I excuse myself for a moment and head to the restroom. When I return, walking along the hallway back toward the main hall, I suddenly catch a few voices behind me. Sharp, unpleasant voices that pierce through the soft hum of the crowd. "Oh, look who's here, that defective item. What's she doing here, huh? Mom, what do you mean by that?" It's true, though. Why would a defective one show up here? We didn't invite her, did we? The words are dripping with open malice. Their tone is loud enough for anyone nearby to hear, as if they want their cruelty to be noticed. This isn't mere gossip whispered behind someone's back. It's deliberate, scornful mockery hurled for attention. No one addresses me directly, but it's obvious they're talking about me. Disgusted, I decide not to waste my time engaging with such people and quicken my pace to leave. "Hey, you ugly thing. You can hear me, can't you?" The voice rings out behind me, but I ignore it. My name is not Ugly Thing. As I stride down the corridor, heels tapping against the polished floor, I suddenly hear hurried footsteps approaching from behind. I frown. Surely they wouldn't be foolish enough to make a public scene. But before I can turn, someone grabs my arm. The grip is so tight that pain shoots up to my shoulder. "Wait, hold on a second." I turn sharply to face the woman who shouted, her chest heaving from the effort of running after me. With a firm motion, I shake off her hand. She stumbles backward dramatically, as if my reaction was an attack. "Julia, are you all right? Why are you being so violent?" Another woman rushes to her side, glaring at me with exaggerated indignation. "Excuse me," I say evenly, "but what exactly is going on? And who are you?" The first woman, Julia, looks at me as though I've slapped her. "What did you just say? Don't tell me you've forgotten me? How self-centered can you be?" Her voice drips with disbelief and fury. "Have we met before?" I ask calmly. Julia's eyebrows shoot up in pure outrage. "What are you talking about? You think you can pretend like this? You, with your pathetic high school diploma, think you can look down on us? Let me remind you, I'm your sister, Julia. Hearing that name must jog that defective memory of yours. And this," she gestures beside her, "is our mother." "Don't tell me you've forgotten your own mother too?" "Ah, so that's what this is." "Yes, perhaps there was someone by those names in my past, but that time is long gone." I shake my head slightly, unwilling to indulge in their performance. Talking seriously with these people is a waste of breath. My silence seems to enrage them further. Just then, 2 men rush toward us, alerted by the commotion. "What's happening here?" "We could hear shouting from across the hall," one of them exclaims. "Julia, aren't you ready yet? The ceremony's about to start. You're still in your regular clothes." "Dad, Daniel, this woman," Julia cries, pointing at me in accusation. "This suspicious person sneaked into our wedding. Please throw her out immediately." The man called Dad stares at me, his expression shifting from shock to annoyance. The other, Daniel, goes pale, frozen in disbelief. "Hazel?" he whispers. Why is Hazel here? Seeing her face today of all days?" "Exactly," Julia interrupts. She must have wandered in by mistake. "It's disgusting. Someone call security." "Wait," Daniel says suddenly, his tone strained. "Watch what you're saying. This person is..." But his voice falters. My quiet remark, "You really know nothing, do you?" goes unheard amid the tension. Then from behind, a familiar voice cuts through the noise. "Hazel, there you are. I've been looking all over for you." It's Philip. Every head turns. I let out a soft sigh of relief and move closer to him. "Sorry," I tell him with a wry smile. "I was on my way back, but ran into some rather peculiar people." Philip scans the faces around us, then mutters quietly, "Ah." His sharp intuition tells him everything. Julia's expression changes instantly. Her earlier arrogance turns to tight-lipped hostility as she glares at me, her eyes brimming with resentment. The 2 who claim to be our parents look utterly confused, as if struggling to grasp what's happening. Daniel, still pale, fumbles for words. Mr. Anderson, he begins awkwardly. I'm truly sorry. My wife said something out of line. Please forgive her, and your wife too. Julia, apologize. Why should I? Julia snaps. They should be the ones apologizing. That woman is ruining our wedding day. She jabs a finger toward me again. This person, this disgrace, has no place here. She's a shame to our family. We should have severed ties long ago. Philip blinks in surprise at that last word. Family? He repeats, looking from me to Julia. At once, the so-called parents rush in to explain, their voices filled with feigned pity. Oh, Daniel, please don't mind her. That woman is our troublesome eldest daughter. We rarely mention her, and it's too embarrassing. We actually kicked her out 9 years ago. How she found out about Julia's wedding we'll never know. She must be here to cause trouble. That's right, the father adds. She's hopeless. Only graduated high school, could never manage university, just drifted around doing part-time jobs. She was a burden on us, a real parasite. She should be grateful we even fed her. Why she's here is beyond me. Their words roll off me like water off glass. Yes, these people are my family, at least by blood and registry. But emotionally, they have been strangers for years. They adored my younger sister Julia, 6 years my junior, and neglected me completely. Our father's family had been a line of doctors, running a family clinic where my mother also worked as a nurse. To outsiders, we looked like a picture-perfect household. But inside, our home was a cage filled with contempt and comparison. As a child, I tried desperately to earn their affection, until the day I realized love wouldn't come, no matter what I did. My parents' reason for adoring Julia and despising me was absurd. Julia was beautiful, and I was not. If there was one advantage I had, it was intelligence. I excelled in school and poured myself into my studies, hoping to escape that house as soon as possible. Yet even then, I was branded as the defective older sister. You're not going to university, my father declared during my final year of high school. A defect like you couldn't get in anyway. You'll graduate, start working, and repay the family that tolerated your useless presence. You should be thankful we raised you at all. Those cruel words, and many others, I recorded. Every insult, every belittling remark from my parents and sister during my teenage years was captured and stored. Julia, learning from their behavior, treated me the same. I'll become a doctor like Dad, she would boast, and work hard enough for both of us since my big sister can't do anything right. That's our girl, my parents would say in front of me, smiling. Learn from your sister's failures. We'll support you all the way, Julia, unlike her. After high school, I worked part-time jobs, saving every bit I could. Though they called me a nuisance, they didn't let me leave easily. I was too convenient for them. Eventually, I secretly rented a small apartment and began my own life. They said, "We won't forgive you if you do this. We won't allow that." But by then, I no longer needed their permission. 9 years passed. I hadn't seen or spoken to them since. Now, standing in this glittering hotel, hearing my sister and parents shout the same insults as before, I realize how little they've changed. As I stand beside Philip, I overhear Julia's raised voice again. "Why are you taking her side, Daniel? She's suspicious. She ruins the whole atmosphere. Get rid of her already." "Julia," Daniel insists, clearly distressed. "I told you already. I invited them. You checked the guest list yourself, remember? They're official guests. You owe them an apology." Their argument escalates, echoing across the elegant hallway, a bitter reminder of the chaos. I once called home. My father suddenly said with a surprised look, "Wait, isn't he the son of the head of Anderson General Hospital, my?" Mother also expressed surprise. Anderson, General Hospital, the famous one, the son of the head doctor. My sister's husband, Julia, echoed their surprise amid these stares. Philip introduced himself. "Nice to meet you. I'm Philip Anderson. This is my wife, Hazel," and greeted them with a smile. Philip's parents are distinguished doctors who have managed a hospital for many years. Philip himself is being groomed as the talented A parent and is passionately studying medicine. Hearing this, my parents' eyes widened in amazement. Suddenly, my sister's husband intervened. "It's unbelievable. But to think that the wife of Dr. Anderson is my wife's sister can such a coincidence even be possible? That means we are relatives now," he said, unable to hide his Surprised Dr. Wells, I apologize for any trouble my son may have caused in the past, I continued, cutting off his remarks. My sister's husband, Daniel Wells, is a Dr. Ann works at a university hospital. I had just taken my son to him recently because he was feeling unwell, but that's the extent of our connection. Philip hashed professional ties with doctors. And it seems that Wells respects Phila greatly. How's R feeling now? From what I diagnosed, he should start receiving treatment immediately. So I suggest you take him to get tested and hospitalized at my hospital. Daniel kindly made that offer, but I replied, actually, we've decided to see another doctor for a second opinion. It's important. You know, he couldn't hide his surprise at my response. It seemed that Daniel was attempting to treat my son as a special case, but I was uncomfortable with the idea of my child being seen as a profitable object. Therefore, I gently declined his offer with a smile. Suddenly, a mocking laugh echoed through the air. Why are you behaving like that? Are you trying to compensate for being a high school graduate by marrying a doctor? Are you stupid? Marrying the heir of a large hospital doesn't elevate your own worth or education. Remains the same, and your thinking is too shallow. You really have a child, poor kid having you for a mother, Julia criticized. Hey, Julia, please stop, we're family. Why do you keep saying such things? Daniel tried to mediate quickly. However, my sister glared at his words. She seemed unshakable in her righteousness. Suddenly, Philip spoke, Tome Hazel. Are they really your family? Hesked doubtfully. No, these people can no longer be called family. A real family wouldn't suddenly scold you for no reason, refuse to feed you just because you spilled a little food, would give me second-hand clothes found in a dumpster while laughing as they compare them to the high-end brands they give to my sister. They wouldn't throw away my study materials, claiming you're too stupid to own them, or soak my textbooks with water to make them unusable. So no, they are not my family anymore. True Ariel family wouldn't strip you naked in the winter, cold for not lending a book to your sister, or lock you in a hot shed in the summer. They wouldn't silently sell your belongings or tell you directly that you're expected to labor. For a lifetime, people in our town have noticed the clinic's unfair treatment of the siblings suspecting abuse, and they don't want to take their children there. It's actually surprising that no one reported it when we were kids. Now, despite their business suffering, they failed to realize that they are the cause of it. This shows just how severe it is. During our calm exchange, when the cruel acts of my past were revealed, Daniel was shocked. My parents were equally stunned to find out I knew their clinic was struggling financially. Since I had left home, this information was unearthed by my in-laws, who deeply sympathized with the hardships I endured and felt even more outraged than I did. Philip also harbored similar feelings, and they had been investigating my parents' clinic, potentially to use it for revenge. Stop lying. We didn't do any of that. It's your fault for being a failure, Daniel. Don't believe a word. She says, my sister vehemently protested, but it was too late. He looked at her with disdain. I thought to myself that none of this would have happened if she had ignored me and walked away back then. No, but actually it's you who are lying. Daniel retorted, me lying about what? She responded in disbelief that Mrs. Anderson only graduated high school. She holds a college degree, as a successful entrepreneur, and the CEO of a company involved in hospital food, which has been instrumental for our clinic. CEO, my sister exclaimed in shock, staring at me as if seeing something unbelievable. My parents were equally astounded. Stop lying, she's just a high school graduate, are you saying? She went to college behind our backs without us knowing. My mother said that accusingly. Yes, I did go to college. I was already an adult, and I had no obligation to report to strangers who are not my family. I replied, what are you saying? How can you speak to your parents like that? We didn't give you permission to go to college. My father shouted, why would I need your permission? I calmly countered, and they could not hide their indignation. After high school, I worked various jobs and saved a considerable amount of money. I used part of these funds to pay for college tuition. There was still so much I wanted to learn and pursue, living away from home. I enjoyed my freedom and was capable of anything while in college. I started my own business. That's also, when I met my current husband, reflecting on, this fills me with deep emotions. Meanwhile, my sister was mumbling, something with a pale face. I can't believe it. I always thought she was the incapable and inept sister who couldn't do anything by herself, that she would be somewhere after being expelled, despite all that she graduated from college, and is now a CEO and married to the heir of a major hospital. Why I thought I would be the hap one. Why is she more successful than me? Why does she look happy? Why indeed? Maybe it's because despite being treated unfairly by our family, she never gave up and kept working hard, maybe. Luck played a small role as well after saying this. I looked back at my sister firmly, and then I revealed a shocking fact. By the way, I heard you dropped out of middle school. Is that true? This revelation completely shocked everyone around, including my former parents. And Daniel, what are you suddenly talking about? Who dropped out of middle school? My sister countered, though I admired her bravery in doing so. I heard from a distant relative who has always been kind to us that after I left home you overestimated your capabilities. Thinking you could easily get into any prestigious school without studying, you went into the exam unprepared and ended up writing almost nothing, resulting in the expected fail. After that you became unruly at home, and were in a reclusive state for a long time, right? You only returned to society recently when our parents introduced Daniel as a suitable marriage partner for you. I explained as I spoke. Daniel's expression grew increasingly stern, while my parents and sister turned pale. Their relative who provided this information is a distant cousin of my father, known for his skill in gathering information, despite having met only a few times. During my childhood, he looked after me and even acted as my guarantor. What baseless things are you saying? My sister protested, trembling. But I continued. Actually, the claim that you work in medical administration is also false, isn't it? In reality, you don't have the qualifications, and you're only handling menial tasks, not entrusted with any specialist duties. It's good that at least the minimum professional ethics are being maintained. I stated, stop it, your words are filled with lies, all of it is false, she cried out. Maybe, so what? Heard was just a rumor after all. Whether you believe it or not is up to you. I responded at that. My sister suddenly turned to Daniel, studying High's expression intently on his face. Were doubt, confusion, and clear disdain. Julia, you previously told us that you graduated from a prestigious women's university, held qualifications, and were supporting your family's hospital. Are you saying all that was a lie, falsifying academic credentials to deceive people is clearly fraudulent? Have you deceived me? Daniel asked pointedly. No. Daniel, don't just take her word for it. You're my husband. You should trust me, she pleaded. Then please name even one professor from the university you claim to have graduated from. He challenged her directly. Clearly, flustered, my sister struggled to respond. That's not relevant right now, is it? Really not. Well, let's call a professor from the department you claim to have attended. Right now, this professor is also a family friend of our parents and has a very close relationship with our family. Daniel proposed, ready to unravel the truth once and for all, as he declared. This Daniel calmly picked up his smartphone. Please stop. That's not necessary, Daniel. If you trust me, that's enough. Oops. Suddenly, Julia snatched the smartphone from Daniel's hand and forcefully slammed it onto the floor. There's no need to check, just believe me. Driven by anger, Julia slammed the phone to the floor and then mercilessly stomped on it multiple times, with her high heels completely destroying it. Her expression at that moment was distorted, with rage resembling the face of a monster. This scene greatly shocked. Daniel and the people around were stunned by her sudden action. My parents tried to calm Julia down, but her anger seemed not easily subdued. The commotion caught the attention of other guests and the venue staff, who gathered around with concerned looks. The venue momentarily descended into chaos, with a very intense disturbance unfolding despite Being there, I felt as if it were happening to someone else. I could no longer feel a familial connection with my sister, or those present for me. My family now consists only of my husband and son. Shall we go home? I think we've done our duty here, I suggested. To my husband, Philip looked a bit surprised and asked, Are we finishing up already, Hazel? I replied with a calm smile. It's okay. Let'n go home. Oh, and let's stop by the cake shop at this hotel on the way back and buy some delicious cake. There's one that's been very popular recently. Hey, that sounds like a good idea. Let's pick up a cake on the way home. Philip agreed, and we left the venue with a light laugh later. I heard that Daniel was involved in a lawsuit for making false diagnoses to patients and charging excessive medical fees following this. My former parents, finding themselves in a dire situation, sought my support. However, they did not know my current contact information, and ultimately showed up at the hospital where my husband works, wanting to see us. So she's the daughter-in-law of the hospital. Ere she's our daughter, please let us see her right away. Contacting the son of the hospital director should solve this problem instantly. We are really in trouble. We need her to repay the kindness we raised her with. We are family. So it's only natural to seek help. That's right. Honestly, I never thought she would be so useful. But it pays to raise them, doesn't it? I never imagined she would find a more suitable partner than Julia. We are now in laws with Thizon, of the hospital director, so it's natural for us to seek support. They proclaimed this loudly at the reception, causing quite a stir. However, it was not my husband or I who responded, but rather coincidentally my parents-in-law. They, with a stern look, firmly asked my parents, What business do you have with our daughter? My parents were unsettled by this stern response, literally froze on the spot and quickly left the scene. They tried to contact us several times afterward, but because they did not focus on resolving their own business issues, their hospital eventually had to close. When I received news of the closure, I felt no particular emotion. Instead, I felt a sense of relief that they had reaped what they sowed. I thought it was one of the most refreshing moments later. I heard that Julia and Daniel had gotten divorced. It was astonishing that their marriage had lasted even a few months. The lawsuit Daniel was involved in and his subsequent dismissal from the hospital probably dealt a fatal blow to their relationship. Julia seemed determined to surpass my happiness and find greater joy, but she continued to make poor choices in the process as her first step. She secretly started having an affair with a much older married doctor, hoping to find a more advantageous position for herself. However, this affair soon came to light and escalated into a significant issue when the doctor's wife demanded compensation. Desperate, she sought help from her parents to resolve the situation, but they quickly disowned her, labeling her a disgrace to the family. I have no certain information about what happened to her afterward, but she had failed her high school entrance RANCE exams, and as a result, had lived reclusivity at home for a long time, living a life isolated from society. She unknowingly started working in the night world, facing hardships that eventually led to health issues and ultimately homelessness. Hearing these stories, my interest in her gradually diminished. Meanwhile, as retirement approaches, my former parents struggle to find positions as doctors or nurses, but it seems no hospital will accept them, due to their long-standing bad reputation. This is likely a consequence of their ruthless treatment of me in the past. Now they are no more than people from my past, and I no longer have the capacity to devote time to thinking about them regarding my son. Fortunately, after examinations at another medical facility, he no longer needs to be hospitalized, and his condition has significantly improved with proper medication. I will continue to do everything I can to protect my family